Now let's talk about SQL. So before talking about SQL is going to act on the database which is called as relational database. So in the early days people don't know how to save the data, and then this person EF Code, he has introduced a new way to store the data, right? And that is called as relational model. That is what we have seen till now. So relational model is nothing but storing the data in form of tables, right? So it is a way in which we can store the data. And now in his paper, a relational model of data for large shared data banks, in this one he has discussed about how to store the data by using the tables. Now because of this model, initially it is not very popular, but later his colleagues have developed a language using which we can access the data which is present in relational model. So at the same time, while he is proposing this model, at the same time these two people, Raymond and Donald, who are his colleagues working at IBM, they have proposed a language called as SQL. Now this language SQL talks about how to access the data if the data is present in form of tables or relations, right? And now the full form of SQL is a structured English query language. Now after this, after they have proposed this language, then everyone started using this model because there is a language which is helping us to retrieve the data from that model easily, right? So both of them have become popular at the same time, right? And then they have come up with SQL. So anyway, later this from the SQL, all the vowels have been dropped out, and now we are calling it as SQL. So sometimes we are even still calling it as SQL. Because the name is actually having some conflict with some other name used by aircraft companies. That is why they have dropped out these vowels and they are simply writing it as SQL but still calling it as SQL. Now what are the features of SQL is, it is based on relational algebra and tuple relational calculus. So we have already seen what relational algebra is and what tuple relational calculus is. So this is an implementation which is based on these two, which means we are going to take some of the features from relational algebra and most of the features from tuple relational calculus, and we are going to implement it in SQL, right? And for the first time it is implemented on system R by IBM. So IBM was having a relational database on which this particular language has been implemented, and it has become very successful. And after that, many companies started offering this language as a package, like Oracle is there, and then Microsoft SQL Server, MS Access, and MySQL. So there are many companies which are giving the commercial packages in order to access the database, which all implement the same language SQL. Now since all of them are implementing the same language SQL, now they are portable in the sense, if you have initially designed your database based on Oracle, and after some time if you want to move on to MySQL, since both of them are implementing the same features which have been proposed in the SQL, which is used as a standard, the portability is easy. You can move from one platform to the other platform if you don't like it, right? So that is one of the advantages of implementing your database on any platform which is based on SQL, right? So SQL is somehow has become the standard, right? And that is why it is increasing the portability. And then if you say that any package, let us say any commercial vendor, if he is providing some SQL compliance language, it means that he is going to provide all the basic functionalities which are proposed by SQL, that is called as basics. And then apart from it, some vendors have also implemented their own features which are called as extensions, right? So if you are going to buy, let's say Oracle, now they are going to give you all the features which are proposed by SQL under the basics, and apart from it they are going to give you some more extra features which will be called as extensions, right? Now because of the extensions you will be able to do some queries faster, right? Anyway, since every language or every platform is implementing SQL only, portability is always there. Okay, fine.